ఒకటి గిట when today today right now let's start with another chapter, standard costing. If you have anything, you tell me here because I have only one. Chala. First of all, getting them itself is a big thing, and then you want discount also. So anyway, Nana, let's go on with this. First of all, let's start with the basics of this particular chapter. You write along with me, okay? World of standard costing. Now, before we get to that, we know a small basics. I mean, you should be knowing it. It is nothing but technique of costing, correct? Marginal costing, standard costing, okay? Budgeting and budgetary control. All these are techniques of costing. And the main purpose of standard costing is cost control, similar to your budgeting chapter. So both these techniques are used to control your cost. The only difference being budgeting is like a preventive medicine, and it's like a, what do you call, vaccination, something kind of. And standard costing is like a medicine. So once things have happened, then standard costing will come into picture, right? So coming on to world of standard costing, first of all, you will set standards, and after setting standards, actuals will happen. And the difference between standards and actuals, we call it as variances. And then they'll try to investigate all these variances and try to find out who is actually responsible for that particular variance. And after that, finally, they'll take countermeasures. Countermeasures means they will take steps on that particular person who is responsible for a particular variance, so that that variance will not repeat again in future. So thereby completing the entire circle of standard costing, whereby the ultimate result of this is to control what, Nana? Cost predominantly, and measure performance. Control cost as well as measure what? Performance. Okay. Again, I'll repeat. So first you'll try to set the standards, then actuals will happen. Then the difference between standards and actuals is nothing but variance. And then you will investigate the reasons behind the variance, who is responsible for that particular variance. And then once you know that this particular person is responsible, you will take action on him. That we call it as countermeasures. By taking the action, by taking the countermeasures, that particular person will ensure that he will not repeat the mistake again. Thereby, you try to control the cost. That's the whole drama. Is it clear? Bol rahe? Chalo. Are we done with this? Copied? Till here, all of you? All right, now see you. We'll go with very basics, okay? First of all, let's try to understand how many types of costs are there from the perspective of this chapter. First one, budgeted cost, standard costs, actual cost. Okay? So from the perspective of this particular chapter, there are three types of cost. What are they, Nana? Budgeted cost, standard cost, and then what here? Actual cost. Now, what do you mean by budgeted cost? What do you mean by standard cost? What do you mean by actual cost? Let's try to understand. Budgeted cost means budgeted output into budgeted cost per unit. Budgeted cost per unit can also be called as standard cost per unit. Samjha? Standard cost is nothing but actual output into budgeted cost per unit, or you can also call it as standard cost per unit. Actual cost is nothing but actual output into actual cost per unit. Now please try to understand that budgeted cost or standard cost per unit, they are same, but when it comes to total, they'll be different. Why? Because when it comes to budgeted cost, you multiply that with budgeted output, whereas when it comes to standard cost, you multiply the same cost per unit, but you'll multiply that with actual output. Now that is the difference. Kya re? Now this is nothing but cost planned. So what you plan is nothing but budget. What you allow is nothing but standard. What you incur is nothing but what, Nana? Actuals. Okay. All your cost variances or the difference between standard cost and actual cost. It has got nothing to do with your budgeted cost. Please try to get clarity here. Many times students gets confused here only. Your cost variances or the difference between what and what? Standard cost and actual cost. It has got nothing to do with your budgeted cost. Then what about these two? What is the difference between budgeted cost and standard cost? It is volume. Or you can also call it as output. As you can see, this is the only difference now. Here budgeted output, here actual output. Now obviously difference between these two is what, Nana? Volume only. Correct? Kya re? Everything else is same. Here also budgeted cost per unit. Here also what? Budgeted cost per unit. The only difference is volume. Yes? Chalo. So the key point that you have to understand is your cost variances is the difference between standard cost and actual cost. Standard cost and actual cost, it has got nothing to do with budgeted cost. And please try to understand that budgeted cost and standard cost, the difference is volume. So you take standard cost per unit, you multiply that with budgeted output, it becomes budgeted cost. You take the same standard cost per unit, you multiply that with actual output, it becomes what? Standard cost. So standard cost is kind of a mix of budget and actual. You got this? Standard cost is a kind of mix of what, Nana? Budget and actual. Kya re? You got this? Samjha? All of you. Right, let's move on to the next one. Types of profit. This is also important for us, especially at final level, because we'll be doing a lot of reconciliation. Okay. As usual, three types of profit. First one, what, Nana? You can easily guess. Budgeted profit. Next. Standard profit. Next. Obviously, what is the last one, Nana? Actual profit. You can easily guess the formulas also. Budgeted profit is nothing but budgeted sales into budgeted margin per unit. Margin means profit, correct? What is standard profit? Actual sales into budgeted margin per unit. What about actual profit? Actual sales into actual margin per unit. Okay? अरे बोल यार. Clear? Again, the difference between budgeted profit and standard profit is again, what is the answer, Nana? Volume, or you can also call it as output. Correct? See the difference. Here it is budgeted sales. Correct? Remaining budgeted margin is same. So which means basically what is the difference? Volume only. Are bol yaar. Yes, all of you. Done? Are we done? Chalo, next. Types of overheads. Now, please try to understand. We have already covered this as a part and parcel of decision making chapter, where we have seen concept of absorption. There we have covered. First type, budgeted overheads. Next, absorbed overheads, which is nothing but standard overheads. Clear? Last, actual overheads. Now be careful with that because already we have seen it. It is not something that is new for us. We have already seen in which chapter? Which chapter? Decision making. What is budgeted overheads? Budgeted output into budgeted rate per unit. Budgeted rate per unit can also be called as standard rate per unit. Got it? Which can also be called as absorption rate, which can also be called as recovery rate, which can also be called as predetermined rate. You got this? What about observed overheads? Actual output into budgeted rate per unit. Of course, which can also be called as standard rate, which can also be called as absorption rate, which can also be called as recovery rate, which can also be called as predetermined rate. Here it is actual output into actual rate per unit. Okay. Now applying the same logic. What is the difference between budgeted overheads and observed overheads? Again, the answer is volume or output. Again, the difference is what, Nana? Volume or output. Kya? Why? Because you see here it is budgeted output, here it is actual output. So basically the difference is what? What is the difference? Volume or output. Anyway, rate it is what? Pretty much the same. Got this? Yes. Next. So what are the different types of variances we are going to see? Now please try to understand, Nana. Actually, the number of different types of variances are unlimited in number. Okay, unlimited would be a little bit of exaggeration. It's very high in number. It is not what you usually see. So what we generally know is, we know that there is only material variance, labor variance, variable overheads, fixed overheads, and then what? Sales. But variance analysis is much beyond that. Is that clear? So depending upon the situation, depending upon the circumstances, you should be able to calculate a lot of new variances which will creep up. For example, the level of expertise that you should be having is like, say for example, if I give you a financial statement of Edwicon International or PKSR classes for that matter, you should be able to look at each and every cost item and cost item and income item, and then and there, with the help of additional information, you should be able to create variances as well as solve it. That is the level of expertise which you have to move on. In fact, we'll be doing that also, because the last problem that we are going to do is, there will be no clue of what kind of variances we need to calculate, as well as there will be no clue of formulas also. Is that clear? We're gonna do it. How to do it? When we do it, you will see. Now coming on to, so what I'm going to write is, what do you call, frequently used formulas or frequently calculated variances. Is that clear? What are they? I can broadly classify them into two. One is cost variance, the other one is what? Revenue variance or sales variance. Now cost variance can be further classified into three. What are they? Material, labor, overheads, which will be further classified into two. Variable overheads, fixed overhead variances. Sales variances is broadly classified into two. One is as per total approach, other one is as per margin, or we can also call it as profit approach. Now margin or profit approach is further classified into two. As per absorption costing system, as per marginal costing system, as per absorption costing system, and then as per what, Nana? Marginal costing system. Okay, this is your classification. So this is not the end of it. Is it clear? This is just like these are all the variances that most frequently will be calculating. It's not like this is the end of the line and what do you call exhaustive list. No. Okay, the number of variances are going to be very much bigger than this. Okay, done. Right, Anna? All of you. Okay, another classification for types of variances. Now, based on a different reason, one is favorable, the other one is adverse variances. Favorable variance as well as what, Nana? Adverse variance. Now, what do you mean by favorable variance? What do you mean by adverse variance? Now, generally, people, okay, they go with a blind form, and that blind formula is whenever you get plus, we call it as what? Favorable. Whenever you get minus, we call it as what, Nana? Adverse. But then that will not hold good in all the cases. Why? Because only in cost variances, plus is favorable, minus is adverse. In sales variances, it's gonna be exactly opposite. Why? Because if cost increases, it is bad, but if sales increases, it is good, right? So therefore, we'll try to understand it in such a way that it is universally applicable for all the variances. So what do you mean by basically a favorable variance? It can be any variance that has the effect of increasing actual profit. Quite a bit simple. So what is favorable variance, Nana? Any variance which has the effect of increasing your actual profit will be favorable. Then obviously here you can write the answer. Any variance that has the effect of what? Decreasing actual profit, we call it as adverse variance. So if cost increases, it reduces your actual profit, therefore adverse. If sales decreases, it reduces your actual profit, therefore again adverse. Are you able to understand? So that's a universal rule. Okay, out of these two variances, which is good for the company? Variance itself is what, Nana? Bad. So there is no such thing called good variance and bad variance. Are you able to understand? Although you may try to say that, no sir, because favorable variance generally increases the actual profit, therefore it is good. The point is, yes it is, but still variance itself is bad for the company. The logic is quite a bit simple. Say for example, suppose you thought that your budgeted sales is 1000 units. So you thought that you'll be selling 1000 units this particular year. Your actual demand turned out to be 1400. How much? Now my question is quite a bit simple. Is it favorable variance? Yes. Because your sales has got increased. Will it increase your actual profit? Yes. So obviously it is favorable variance. But my question is, you may think that favorably is good for the company. How? Because where are you going to get that extra 400 units of production? Because initially you thought that your sales is 100, sorry, 1000. Accordingly, first of all, you would have prepared your sales budget, which is 1000. Sales budget plus closing stock of finished goods minus opening stock of finished goods will give you production budget. Then accordingly, each unit of production will consume so many kgs of raw material. You would have accordingly prepared raw material consumption budget. Then further, you would have added closing stock of raw material and reduced what? Opening stock of raw material. You would have got raw material purchase budget, and then it goes on. So everything is planned based on this estimated sales of 1000. Of course, you'll have a backup plan. Like for example, maybe some 5% or 10% or 15%, not like 40%, where your budgeted sales was 1000 and your actual demand was 1400. So here there are only two choices for you. Either you'll be losing the sales, or you'll try to buy from somewhere else, from the external vendor, and then you'll try to sell it in order to not to lose the customer. But then there your profit is gone, correct? Therefore, don't think that favorable is also good. You got the point? Another example I'll give you. For example, let's say your purchasing department is there or procurement department. You gave them a standard price for raw material of 10 rupees per kg, which means the price that is allowed for them to purchase should be what? 10 or less. That is the logic, correct? They've actually purchased it at 8. Now, immediately, according to your logic, array, I thought that my standard cost is going to be 10, whereas my actual cost has eventually been what? 8, which means it's a favorable variance. All happy because your actual profit would have got increased, but it's not like that. You need to investigate into the reasons why he was able to buy at 8. If the procurement department specialty nothing is there, by default the market was able to sell at 8, then that's not a good news for your company, correct? So definitely you'll ask the person who has set the standards, asking him that if it is quite a bit easy to get it at 8, why did you fix the standard as 10? Then that is his mistake, which is not good again. Or if there is any extraordinary reasons, you explain yourself. It's as simple as that. Got it? So thereby, don't come to a conclusion that okay, adverse is bad because it reduces my actual profit. Favorably is good because it increases my actual profit. No, actually not. Okay, done. Okay, now the next thing is the confusion between the students. Many of the students they ask me, sir, should I go with formula? Okay, when it comes to standard costing, or should I go with logic? Now, my answer will be very simple: go with both. Because formula gives you what? Speed, which is very much important for our exams. Probably if it's international exams, it's a different ball game altogether because you'll be given more time for the same marks. Or say for example, in our exam, 10 marks question is there, that will be asked eventually for 20 or 25 marks over there. So you'll have eventually more time, thereby you can just think, understand the logics, apply it, and then solve it. But here that's not the case. We have to go with speed, especially old syllabus. So therefore, we'll try to go with formula. So which means next? So which means all variances will go with formula? Answer is no. Impossible also. Because frequently used variances like material, labor, variable overhead, fixed overheads, and sales variances, because you are using them again and again, again and again, again and again, frequency is very high. Therefore, you will create a formula for them and you will try to learn them to make things faster and better and easier. But then there are so many new variances that we're going to come across, like for example, market share variance, market size variance, or planning variance, operating variance, growth variance, material growth variance. For example, we haven't heard about it. There is something called labor capacity variance, which we are not going to see in normal labor variances. So that there is no end, first of all, because many special circumstances will arise. Then in that case, can you create and keep formulas for each and every special circumstance well in advance and then by heart it and then try to use it? Impossible. For how many things you'll create a formula? Therefore, definitely we have to go with the logics. Then why do we need formula? Let's go with logics. With respect to the problems that is from material, labor, variable overhead, fixed overhead, and sales variances, to speed it in the examination, to reduce the errors possibility, we need to go with formulas. So formulas basically reduces your error possibility. Logics, generally you're always susceptible to what? Errors in thought process. 1 second, if mind goes off, you're gone. But formulas will never leave you like that. Of course, the negative side is you have to keep on what? Revising them. Otherwise, you don't remember. That's a different ball game. Are you able to understand? So therefore, we're gonna go with both. We're gonna go with both. Okay, now what is the logics behind all these formulae? The first thing is behind creation of any formula, the most important point is uh, whatever the number that you get after applying the formula should be useful. This is the basic rule behind creating any formula whatsoever. So if I apply a formula and if you get a number out of it, I should be able to use that number. If I'm not able to use this number, then what is the use of the formula? Formula doesn't make any sense. For example, let's say there is a variance where price and quantity both has got changed, and finally your variance was 100 adverse. Now by looking at this variance, you can easily say that okay, fine, my profit has got reduced by 100, actual profit. Then I'm trying to know, okay, why? Your answer was, sir, it is due to both because of quantity change as well as price change. Now I'm asking next question, okay, how much is due to quantity? I don't know, sir. How much is due to price? I don't know, sir. Without knowing that, what should I do? Should I go to procurement department manager or should I go to production department manager? And I should ask them what? Stand, try to keep them both in front of your eyes and then ask them both of you are responsible for what? 100 doesn't make any sense. So therefore, in all the formulas, what we basically do is there will be only one, okay, variable which will be varying. Okay, there will be only one variable that will be varying or changing, and everything else will be constant. Only one variable will be varying or changing. Say for example, I talk about material usage variance. Only usage, that is quantity, will be changing and price will remain constant. When I talk about price variance, price will be the only one that will be changing and quantity will remain constant. When I talk about mix variance, price will remain constant as well as yield will remain constant, and only mix will change. When I talk about yield variance, only yield will change and mix and price will remain constant. So basically, you take any formulas, only one will be changing and everything else will be constant. Now let's apply the same logic to this one. Suppose same number you have calculated, and that is material price variance. Now looking at that number, I know that there is only one change when it comes to material price variance, because we presume that our quantity remains constant when we are calculating material price variance, correct? In that case, you know that this entire 100 adverse is due to what? Price. Straight away call the procurement department manager or purchase department and discuss with him. If he's found guilty, yes, you can take your actions. If it is not found guilty, means then you'll try to understand, okay, it is due to reasons beyond the control of what? Production manager. And then probably you'll try to analyze your external environment a little bit better, whatever it is. But now it makes sense because it is due to only one reason. So 100 profit has got reduced, one reason, that is due to change in material price. Kya re? Are you able to understand? So that is the power of the formulas. So these 2 points are very important. Whenever we're gonna solve problems where we are not going to use what? Formula. This is the logic which is going to help us. So whatever the number that you calculate because of applying any formula whatsoever, the resultant number should be useful. If you are not able to use, or if you are not able to get some sort of benefit out of it, then that formula is meaningless. So while creating the formula, these things should be kept in mind and accordingly it should be created. Point number one. Point number two. Please understand that any formulas that we are going to put in this particular chapter, especially material, labor, variable overhead, fixed overhead, and sales variances, there will be only one variable that will be changing. Everything else will be constant, which means multiple things will be constant and only one variable will be changing. Are you able to understand? Kya re? Once I tell you material variances, you'll get a better idea. But this is the logics. This should be there in your mind. Done? Kya re, Nana? Right, let's go with the first one. What is the first one we have? Material variances. First, I'll go with the formula. Okay, you learn the formula and then I'll give you the logics after that. Material cost variance will be divided into two. You go with the same format. Why? Because it will be very useful when you are doing reconciliation. Material price variance, material usage variance. This will be further divided into two. Material mix variance and material yield variance. Totally we have four formulae. This is the easiest of the lot, Nana. With the help of this formula, we'll be able to do reverse working sums, we'll be able to analyze things better, we'll be able to solve new sums, and there are certain sums where this formula only will be tinkered a little bit and then new variances will be calculated. Are you able to understand? How is that? When I start solving, you'll understand. That's the power of this formula. See, the advantage of this formula is, anyway, let me finish it off first. SQ into SP is the first one, AQ into AP, AQ into SP, RAQ into SP. So here the formulas are going to be 1 minus 2, 3 minus 2, 1 minus 3, 4 minus 3, 1 minus 4. Now initially this may sound either lot funny or maybe like little bit difficult because you have to by heart them. But don't worry, because labor also will have the same formula. Variable rates also will have the same formula. Fixed rates also will have the same formula. Sales also will have the same formula. So by the time you finish up this chapter, you'll be repeating this formula 100 times. So thereby it will stay in your mind. Although these variances can be calculated without using formula also. How is that also? I'll teach you. Are you able to understand? But then, we should be safe enough. In case if you forget the formula, we'll have the alternative logic also. That also I'll explain you. So no worries whatsoever. Kya re? Arey bol yaar. Okay, now tell me, Nana, what is the first one? Material cost variance. That is divided into what and what, Nana? Price variance and usage variance. That is divided into what and what? Mix variance and yield variance. Now, mix variance and yield variance will come only when there are multiple raw materials. And even this part also. Is that clear? And this part. which means if there is only single raw material, then your material cost variance will be divided into price and usage. That's it. And you'll be getting only three formulas. Four will not come, and mix and yield will not come. Is that clear? That clarity you should have. So as a result, whenever you read the question, first of all, try to understand whether you have single raw metal or you have what? Multiple raw metal, and accordingly you have to take other decisions. Are you able to understand? Bol Ray. Now let us write explanation for everything. SQ. What is SQ, Nana? Any guesses? Standard quantity of raw material required for actual output of finished goods. If I write actual output also, it's done because output is nothing but finished goods. So if you want me to simplify this, it is nothing but raw materials allowed. Next, SP. Standard price per unit of raw material. Kya re? You got this? AQ. Actual quantity of raw material consumed for actual output of finished goods. Actual quantity of raw material consumed for actual output of finished goods. Next, RAQ. Revised actual quantity. What do you mean by that? Actual quantity rewritten in what, Nana? Standard proportion or standard mix. So this is a full form of everything. So you write it down first and then we'll try to analyze it. Guys, this is very important. Now, say for example, you take SQ, Nana. What is the importance of SQ? I've already told you here that it is standard quantity of raw metal required for actual output of finished goods, correct? Let's tinker this a bit. Suppose it is not standard quantity of raw metal required for actual output. Instead, it is standard quantity of raw metal required for budgeted output. Then SQ into SP will become budgeted cost instead of standard cost. That's how sensitive it is. That's why it is SQ for AOP. It is not SQ for BOP. If it is SQ for BOP, it becomes budgeted cost. Because it is SQ for AOP, it becomes what? Standard cost. And I already told you that your cost variances are the difference between standard and actuals. It is not the difference between budget and actuals. Are you able to understand? Actual quantity rewritten in standard proportion. Okay. Suppose in one problem, suddenly a new question comes. He has asked you to calculate material growth variance. What did he ask you to calculate? Material growth variance. Now, growth is a synonym for volume, which is a synonym for activity. So, all three are nothing but the same. Material growth variance or material volume variance or material activity variance are nothing but the same. Now, suddenly it's a new variance because obviously here I have what? Cost classified into price and usage. Usage is classified into mix and yield, provided if you get multiple raw metals in the question. I don't see any growth variance here. Kya? Then suddenly in a question, growth variance is asked. Now, how to do that? Exactly. Budget minus standard. So it is nothing but 1 minus 1. What is the formula? 1 minus 1. What is 1? SQ into SP. What is another one? SQ into SP only. Then what is the basic difference? Here it is SQ for BOP into SP. Here it is SQ for AOP into SP. Correct? Standard quantity required for budgeted output into standard price will give you, what is this? What cost? What cost here? Budgeted cost. Standard quantity for actual output into standard price will give you what cost? Standard cost. Quite a bit simple. See? So once you understand the reasons and logics behind the formula, even if a new variance comes, you should be able to do it. Correct? Simple. You see that? Now, so far I haven't heard about something called material growth variance, but still I was able to do it because all I know is growth means it is volume. So change in volume. In material, how volume will change? It is difference between budgeted material cost and standard material cost. So standard material cost I already know, SQ into SP. So SQ for AOP. If you make it SQ for BOP, automatically it becomes budgeted material cost. Difference between these two is nothing but volume, which I have clearly mentioned here. I told you now here. What is the difference? Volume. This is nothing but material growth variance. Correct? Difference between budgeted cost and standard cost. You got the point? Quite a bit simple. Got it? Kya re? Alright. Now let's go for the logics. I don't think we'll be able to complete today, but let us see how much it is possible, that much will go. Ready? Yeah? अरे बोल यार. Chalo, now. Ready guys, all of you? Okay, now see Nana. Going with the logics. Let's start with material price variance. What variance? Material price variance. Now, what is the logics I have told you that when it comes to any variance, there should be only one variable that must be changing and everything else has to remain constant. So obviously common sense, material price variance. Price is varying, which means what will vary? Price will vary. And what will remain constant? Quantity will remain constant. Now, quantity is nothing but usage, correct? Now, price will vary means what price and what price will vary. It is the difference between standard price and actual price. Quite a bit simple. And obviously quantity will remain constant. Now here we have a problem because there are two types of quantity for us. One is actual quantity, the other one is standard quantity. Still RAQ did not come because RAQ will come only when you go to mix and yield variance. Right now we are not into RAQ. So we are left with only two types of quantities. One is SQ, the other one is AQ. Now which one will remain constant is the question. Obviously the answer is what will remain constant? AQ. This is very important. Now the next question is why AQ is really constant? What is the reason behind that? Logic is very simple. See, the thought process is why AQ is constant? AQ is something, what is AQ? First of all, abbreviation. Actual quantity of raw metal consumed for actual output of finished goods. So which means you have actually manufactured finished goods. For that, what you have actually consumed is actual quantity of raw metals. That is AQ. So my thought process will be like, okay, 1000 kgs of raw metal I've consumed in reality. That is actually. Okay, this 1000 kgs at what price I should have purchased? And this 1000 kgs at what price I have purchased? Is nothing but price variance, correct? I'll not be thinking about what is the raw material that I've initially planned. Aisa what? Kya re? I'll give you a small logic over here. See here. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to tell you? Because I'm only interested in actually what has happened when it comes to quantity. When it comes to quantity. Are yeah, 1000 kgs of raw metal I've consumed here. Okay, fine. What is the price I should have consumed? 5 rupees. Okay. What is the price that I've consumed? 7. Okay. 2 rupees is what? Adverse and 1000. So 2000 will be adverse variance. That much my profit should have got dropped because he was able to purchase it at only 7 and not at 5. And when I'm saying my profit has dropped, in reality it has dropped because in reality you have consumed 1000 only. Na? That's why I take AQ. If you take SQ, then that is not reality because the wording is SQ is nothing but standard quantity of raw metal required for actual output. The wording is very important there. What is the word I've written? Specifically, I've written that required. Here, what is the wording? Consumed. So there is a lot of difference. So consumed is something that has already happened in reality, correct? Whereas required means it is an imaginary number, correct? So why would I take imaginary number here? Okay, how much of raw metal I should have consumed? Okay, this much. Which means for that, what is the price that you should have purchased? So everything is should have. It's not going to work. Are you able to understand? Therefore, we go with AQ. Now, this is very important. In so many other sums also where we are going to do problems, variance analysis without formula, we're going to use this logic. So when it comes to material price variance, price will change and quantity will remain constant. What quantity will remain constant? Actual quantity. Game over. Coming on to second one. Material usage variance. Now you know the logic. What is material usage variance? Kya re? Usage or quantity will what nana? Change. And price will remain constant. Now quantity is nothing but difference between SQ and AQ because there are only two quantities right now. We don't have RAQ because we haven't crossed mix and yield variance, right? We haven't come across. But then when it comes to price, you have to keep it constant, of course, because usage variance, therefore usage should be changing, which means quantity must be changing and price has to remain constant. Now, which price will remain constant? You have got two choices, standard price as well as what? Actual price. Which price? The answer is SP, standard price. Now, how's that? There are a lot of reasons for that. So let's go with the reasons. Reason number one, standard price is more reliable number. What do you mean by that? See, please try to understand actual price is always affected by temporary fluctuations. Which is affected by temporary fluctuations? Actual price. Most of the times. Temporary fluctuations in the market. Are you able to get this? Kya something has happened in your local area that will reflect in, that will be reflected in your actual price. Something has happened which is specifically outside the control of your company has happened in your state or in your district or in your city or in your town. Now that will affect your AP. Now that is something that is extraordinary, correct? And therefore extraordinary should not be considered. It's as simple as that. SP is a more reliable number. Why? Because a lot of research has been done and it is devoid of temporary fluctuations, correct? Kya re? And another important thing is, why are you multiplying with SP? Because basically it's a usage variance. So usage means it should be difference in what? Quantity only. This is the most important part. Then why are you multiplying with SP? Only to convert this into absolute number, so that I'll understand how much is the effect on what? Profits. That is the only intention. Say for example, let us say your formula is like this: SQ minus AQ, and it is not SP, it is the AP. Are you able to understand? We'll take some examples. The standard quantity, that is raw metal that should have been consumed, is 1000 kgs, or the raw metal that is allowed is 1000 kgs, AQ, whereas you have consumed 1200 kgs, correct? Standard price is 10, actual price is 12, suppose. Okay, now see what will happen. What is a wrong formula? If you use wrong formula, what will happen? It is SQ minus AQ, which is 200 kgs, into which price will be kept constant? Actual price, which is 12. What will be your variance, Nana? 2400 adverse, correct? Kya if you use right formula, it's gonna be the same 200 kgs, but which one will remain constant? Standard price, which is 10. It's gonna be how much? 2000 adverse, correct? Kya now tell me, if you are a production department manager, who are you? Production department manager. What will be your reaction on this? You will not accept this, correct? If you are whom? If you are whom, Nana? Production department manager, you will not at all accept that. You will say, I am not responsible for this 400 difference. That is the inefficiency of whom? Procurement manager or procurement division manager. So why am I responsible for that? Now why are you taking his inefficiency and reflecting it under me? Are you able to understand? Yes, sir, what? If he is not able to sell at 10 and if he sells at 12, then that inefficiency is also included in my variance, because I've got nothing to do with it. My logic is completely purely related to what? Consumption of raw materials. It has got nothing to do with price. So you are allowing your inefficiency of your purchasing department manager, or efficiency also, either way it can happen, creep inside the which variance? Usage variance, which has got nothing to do with production manager. Are you able to understand? So following these reasons, when it comes to price, which will be kept constant? Standard price. When it comes to quantity, which will be kept constant? Actual quantity. This is very important and it is the lifeline of this chapter, because so many other problems that we are going to do, you will understand there how important this is. Are you able to get me? Are bol here? And chalo. This one is done till here. Logics you have copied. Logics you have copied. This one, all of you. Okay, this one, copy that. Today we'll wind up with this. Tomorrow we'll be going with the logics of mix as well as what? Yield variance, and then we'll try to learn the material variance, then we'll go for the remaining variances. We'll finish up the concepts tomorrow and we'll start solving sums also. Is that clear? Yeah. It's not that relevant. This is only important for us. Price, usage, mix and yield. Cost is nothing but summation of everything. In fact, you'll not be using that also, because I told you now there should be only one change, then only it will be useful. Cost variance is inclusive of everything. Price changes, usage changes. It's of no use actually. But then there should be one variance which is total of everything. That's it. Suppose you want to identify, okay, because of material, how much is the effect on our profits? Then material cost variance will give you some number. Then you have to dig deeper after that. But at least you'll have an idea. Okay, because of material, so much is the profit has got increased or decreased. Thereby, you'll try to concentrate on material, something like that. And inside material, again, you'll dig deeper. You'll see whether it is price or quantity or usage. And again, you'll dig deeper, and again, you'll see it's is due to because of change in mix or change in yield. That is more standard loss or something like that. We'll see that tomorrow. Copied, huh? All of you. If you've copied means we are done. All of you, Nana. Okay, Nana, let's wind up for today. Can I?